When you come play football at the University of Notre Dame, there's a decent chance you might get a shot to play in the National Football League one day. As another season has come and gone, so does the players that came with it. Today, another Fighting Irish entered his name for the NFL draft. Tailback Tony Jones Jr. When fans were screaming, "Run, Tony!" on this play right here in the Camping World Bowl, I don't think they meant for him to take it literally. Regardless, the senior, he had a year left of eligibility, but he'll be taking a good bit of production to the NFL in a couple months. So where does that leave the current state of things? Well, so far, the big headliner, quarterback Ian Book, he'll be staying in South Bend for a 5th year. Safety Alohi Gilman announced yesterday he's headed to the draft, but there's still one big name who hasn't announced his decision yet. That's junior tight end Cole Kmet. He's most likely going to be at the top of his position if he declares, but he's yet to announce anything so far. One more year couldn't hurt, right? Right.
We're going to struggle. We're going to struggle through the rest of the year.
Good news, Irish fans. The year ended yesterday. We're now officially in 2020, and we can just forget about all the struggles the Notre Dame women's basketball team has gone through this season. So, what now? Well, after a 16-point loss at home to Clemson Sunday, the Irish were back at practice today. The team was getting ready for a 2-game road trip starting tomorrow at Pittsburgh. Head coach Muffet McGraw told me this afternoon that her young team just hasn't really been able to catch a break this season. And I agree. Let's bring back that luck of the Irish in 2020. And down in Indianapolis, 2019 was also a season of highs and lows for the Colts. Before a regular season game was even played, franchise quarterback Andrew Luck said, "I'm out," leaving the reins to backup quarterback Jacoby Brissett. That'd be a tough task for any team to overcome, but the Colts came pretty close to doing it. Indy finished the season at 7-9, but was competing for a playoff spot for a good chunk of it. Head coach Frank Reich addressed the media to wrap up 2019, and the theme was, keep on building. Well, in late October, it was a spooky night for the Notre Dame football team. The Michigan Wolverines put a halt to the Irish's playoff aspirations on that absolutely miserable night. Today, those same Wolverines also made the trek to Orlando, Florida to go bowling. And turns out it was on the same field too. Camping World Stadium, Michigan and Alabama scoring off in the Citrus Bowl. Very first play from scrimmage for the Tide. Ladies and gents, I present to you Mac Jones, the backup quarterback, showing off the cannon, finding superstar wide receiver Jerry Jeudy, and of course the future first rounder does the rest. So how do the Wolverines respond? Shea Patterson hits them with the play action and goes peekaboo to Nick Eubanks, and Michigan ties it up and goes into halftime with the lead. But come on, guys, you know Nick Saban doesn't lose a lot. And will you look at this? Lightning strikes twice in the form of Mac Jones' arm. He goes mammo to Devontae Smith, who falls into the end zone. That's pretty convenient. And of course comes the dagger. Jones again, not as far of a throw this time. He finds Miller Forrestal. That's 6 more points, and that's enough to sink the Wolverines. Bama wins it 35-16. Then there was the granddaddy of them all, the Rose Bowl. Wisconsin and Oregon in a shootout today. Oregon draws first blood, but buckle up, kids, because Aaron Cruikshank, he's going to switch things to maximum overdrive. The 50, the 40, the 30, you guys get the idea. He goes to the end zone and ties it back up in the first quarter. But as Gopher head coach PJ Fleck likes to say, row, row, row the boat. Tanner Morgan's going to go gently down the stream to Tyler Johnson. And no one's catching him. The senior goes 75 yards to the house. Lots of rowing tonight. Yeah, they have indeed, Todd. Greetings from Orlando, Florida. If you look behind me, looks a bit like the permacloud we're used to seeing up in South Bend, but don't be mistaken, it's very, very comfortable. About 75 degrees, you can tell by the short sleeves that I'm wearing down here. As you just said, Notre Dame has made the trek down south to play Iowa State in the Camping World Bowl tomorrow at noon. And of course, being in Orlando, Florida, there is certainly a lot of things to do. There's Disney World, there's Universal Studios, there's go-kart racing, arcading, everything that you could think of probably right here in the entertainment capital of the United States. And we saw Notre Dame players have some fun this week, going to Star Wars Land, Star Wars World, whichever one that it is, Quidditch World up in Harry Potter area. So they're having a good bit of fun, but of course with under 24 hours left to play for a football game, it's time to refocus and get serious.
Well, I think they've started to, get into their normal game kind of mode, mentality. You have to switch from practice and being, as I just mentioned, in Orlando and Disney and Universal Studios and all the sunshine, you have to flip that switch and get into a competitive mindset. So our guys have quieted it down. They're much more present in the moment as they get ready to play a great opponent in Iowa State. So you can see that as they're walking around the hotel. There's much more of a purposefulness in terms of how they're handling themselves. They've got their AirPods or their iPhones, or they've got a sense that we're getting close to kickoff, and you've got to get into the right mindset.
So a lot of fun to be had down here in Orlando, Florida, but as Coach Kelly said, can't be having too much fun. Got to refocus and get ready for that game tomorrow at noon. Now stick around with us, because coming up at 6 o'clock, our Pete Byrne gives us a little bit more in-depth look at their opponent, Iowa State. He'll have that coming up, as I just said. But for the meantime, I think I might jump in the pool or get in the hot tub here. It's some pretty nice weather. I brought a bathing suit. For now, live in Orlando, Florida, I'm Garrett for WSBT 22 Sports.